Hey, YouTube, how's it going? It's Ked. This is like my fifth take trying to record this video. Um, I woke up this morning and, I woke up like I always do. And I noticed that, the Calogera sisters had made, you know, news because they were doing an abysmal job at a comedy club. And they got, the host under a lot of shit. The place got review bombed. The Hollywood comedy got review bombed. And yeah, they also accused some people of sexual harassment, and I think it was baseless. So, what we're going to do in today's video is not react to that drama. I don't really give a damn about YouTube drama in that sense. But what I am going to do today is we're going to see how they prepared for the comedy, look at a few of the jokes, and then I'm going to give you guys some pointers. I'm not a stand up wizard or anything like that, right? Hang on. Yeah, I'm not a stand up wizard or anything like that. As a matter of fact, if you look at my last video, that will tell you about my comedy experience. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and that was the first time I ever got it recorded. And I actually had the video. I had another one recorded, but I don't have the video for it. So unfortunately, it will go up on the channel. But I know enough about stand up to, tell you guys in the audience a thing or two, especially if you're trying to get into a set, because for a lot of people, this is their first time ever seeing someone perform at an open mic. Because I take it the majority of the audience here are younger. And I don't want you guys to do what these people did. So I'm going to also give some do's and don'ts from the side of someone who performs. Um, what's another thing I got to add? Oh, yeah, I'm not like Joe Rogan or these other comics that like are so full of self-importance that they need to sort of, let you know that they're a comic and that they're changing the world. Motherfucker, you're telling jokes on stage, all right? I'm not one of those people. I think that there's a million ways to do comedy. I think Matt Rife is super justified in the way that he tells jokes if he wants to do his open mics, not open mics, his crowd work, whatever. I'm not going to shit on that, right? That's how he makes jokes, and it's funny. So, without further ado, we're going to start with this. I have a notepad. We have some timestamps here. Don't worry, there's no family nudity. I'm not Lakari or whatever the fuck his name is. Um, that is the stupidest shit. But anywho, this guy don't shit on this guy. I'm gonna move myself to the bottom left of the screen like this, and we're just gonna get this reaction out of the way. And yeah, we'll cut to me every once in a while. I'm gonna write some stuff here with my trusty little pen. That's right. I got pen software now. Lads and lasses, we are improving. I'm going to make some points and stuff. This shit is awesome. All right, let's get into it. First timestamp. Really, we could start at 5 seconds.
It is 7:52. We booked stand-up comedy open mic at 9 p.m. So we have to be there in 1 hour, and we are writing each other's scripts.
Oh, shit.
So there's two.
So, first and foremost, all right, what do we got to get out the way? So they're performing they said it was 7:53 and they had to be there at 9 p.m. All right. What they don't tell you is that that's when the show starts. So actually they need to be there at around 8:30. Whenever you're performing, pro tip to anybody, get there extremely early. You never know if you're going to have to perform. You don't know some comedy clubs, they'll draw your name from a hat. Some clubs, they have a set list already. So you just want to show up early and just say, hey, I'm here, especially if you've booked a show or a performance, which I don't think these people did. I'm gonna keep it real. There's nothing about these people that tells me they haven't yet, but right away, I'm telling you guys right now that you should be having 20, 30 minutes before, you need to be in the set with no jokes written down is a recipe for disaster. I think at 30 seconds, they actually explain what it is that they do.
Guys, we are going to be writing each other's fucking jokes, and we are going to be telling to a crowd. We are already comedians. Yeah.
Okay. No, they're not. And this is something, right? Like doing other people's jokes. So, I'll spare you, looking at these people. It's I got a girlfriend. Okay. She got me a fantastic Jungelskog for Christmas. I'm very happy about that. For her sake, I'm just going to blur out the ladies. Okay. But what I will say is that doing other people's jokes is a recipe for disaster. Okay, there's a reason that it's the fantasy football punishment of choice for a lot of people. Please don't do each other's jokes. Um, if you do, at least rehearse it. You know, this is a pro tip. If you want to actually kill it with a fantasy football punishment script that someone else is writing for you, go over it. And you know, obviously they want you to bomb, but go over the damn script. You don't want to look like a clown on stage. And we'll get into that when we start seeing the guy, I guess one of the boyfriends or something, perform. And yeah, we'll touch on that. I think I had another thing highlighted for 105. Oh yeah, this joke. So this is a joke that would be told later, and we'll show that. But here's something.
I used to wet the bed. I still do, but like I used to. Do you like that first
Okay.
one? Are you who wants?
So on paper, that's not a terrible joke. Someone else did it, and it's a stolen joke. It's the same premise. It's been done before with drugs, and it was by a world class comedian too. It wasn't like a low key thing, you know. Like I'd be stealing all my jokes from people at open mics, but I do it at open mics because I know that they don't. No, I'm fucking with you. Don't be a hack and don't steal people's jokes. Reason being is that comedy is surprisingly small as a group. Um, a lot of open micers are casual open micers, so they'll hear the same jokes a billion times. But you'll know whenever somebody copies a joke, and that is one where the premise has been done before. You know, there's another example. It's like, take my wife, please. You know, that one you hear a lot too is some people will storm the stage and say it in the microphone. I think it's the funniest shit ever. No, it's not. It's a good joke, right? It's you know, the ideal perfect joke. It's short, it's to the point. You know, there's a simple setup, twist, punchline, and it's 4 words, right? But you're not going to go not every comic goes on stage and goes, take my wife, please, right? Like, write your own material. And trust me, like, it's better for you to write your own material anyways, because you work on your writing, you work on creativity, you work on your observational skills, your subjective skills, a lot of things come whenever you just come up with your own jokes. And these people are not. We're going to skip all the other shit about them writing. I think we're going to go to around 9:45 is when we get the next big issue, which we'll discuss, right?
Wow. I expected one sad person, not 4 attractive people.
We're going to pause whenever
Are
it
you
gets to the
filming
guy.
them seeing us?
Okay. So 2 big things here, and we're going to make this yellow here because this guy, you know, we get to see pants or whatever. First and foremost, filming, no go. All right. Do not film. Ever. Never, ever film in a comedy club unless you get the expressed written permission or verbal permission from the owners of the club. The reason being is that comics will go on stage and they want to perform their own material and have the control over their own stuff. I got my set recorded because I asked my girlfriend to record for me. And she did. And we appropriately sat ourselves in a position such that obviously there were some people, and I had to do some cropping, I think. But generally speaking, I wanted nobody on my video because I didn't want anyone in the audience to get in there, whatever it may be. You can record your own shit. And honestly, I highly encourage it. If you are somebody, just make sure you get in touch with the club first before you do something like that. And the second thing that we're noticing here is that these people were fashionably late. I take it, you know, according to the club owner, there was a whole spat about how they actually didn't sign up for the set, and they were very rude and cussed at them, and that's maybe what took so long. But generally speaking, you never want to be late to a set or a performance, even if you are performing, because you never know if you're on the set list and they'll just skip you. It causes a whole lot of stress. It causes a whole lot of stress for management and for the people who do these kind of things, and it's just shitty. Don't show up late. All right. Yeah, and then one more thing I wanted to point out was around the 10:30 mark. And this is something else that I want to point out because some people say, "Oh, who cares if you're filming?" Well, this is aside from the fact that it's consensual, right? This is something else.
Steven Soderbergh over here with an iPhone. And what's on that thing? Is that a flash?
Yeah, it's a
Is that a flash? Okay. So, time for me to play little education for you guys, for anyone who doesn't know. When you're performing, you guys can see the lights here are bright as hell. A well-designed club should have the lights bright as hell in your face. And part of that is due to stage fright. Part of that is to, highlight the subject, who is the performer. If you look around in a crowd when you go to a comedy club, you'll notice that you can't really see anyone except for the person on stage. And if you're ever on stage, you'll notice that you may see the first, maybe second row of people. And that's all you'll see, right? And I'm really stretching it. It is dark on stage. And so this guy has a lot of lights in his face. And another thing to note, he's doing crowd work. Crowd work is not ever what you want to do at an open mic, because you'll get heckled. You go to open mics usually to perform your material. So this guy's already off his material. As far as etiquette's considered, if you are late, that's cool, but if you are expecting to perform, don't show up late. And, generally speaking, if you are getting picked out by the comedian, you're doing something wrong, unless they're openly doing crowd work, which is cool. Sometimes people are like that. But one other thing to note is he mentioned flash. And this is especially a problem because comics, whenever they perform on stage, we depend on a light. And that light usually comes from the host, and it can mean a whole lot of things. That's what it looks like. You'll look into the audience and you'll see a light. Usually it's a red light or a white light, whatever it may be. There's a light. And the light means a few things. For one, it can mean get off the stage, right? It means get out. Now, typically, you'll get a light before the get out light that says you got 1 minute left or 2. I've had some clubs where it's been 2 minutes left. But yeah, there's the 1 minute, there's get out, and then the third one is like if there's an emergency, right? And the club needs to stop. You'll get any of those lights at any time during any open mic that is at a club like this where the lights are hard to see. The one I performed at, that's on my YouTube channel, we had a weird system where, it was very open. And so it wasn't like a stage. I got to see everyone. It was great. The lights weren't too bright. So it was a little bit frightening. If you can get into a situation like that, but you're really shit scared of, I don't know what I prefer. Honestly, the dark room where you're highlighted works a lot better for if you have stage fright. But yeah, honestly, this is a bad thing, right? Because if you're putting a flash in there, all of a sudden now you created a distraction for the comic. And I take it that the flash doesn't go off. So he's also recording people, he's recording the sisters, and it's causing a whole disturbance. So already you're taking the subject away, which is this guy. And again, I'm not trying to flame the material or these people or whatever, because that's for other YouTubers. That said, this kind of shit right here, I do want to call out, because I don't want this to become like the norm or the expectation, because a lot of people have never done an open mic before and don't know how this shit works. So yeah, this is going to be your first exposure. These people have 7.4 million subs. I guarantee you a few people have never ever seen the inside of a comedy club before, right? And this is not a good expectation to set upon these people. Yeah, when do I say the shit show begins on my timestamps here? Oh shit, I got the wrong timestamp. Okay, so we're gonna go around 12 minutes. So this is, I guess, Noah or whatever. I don't really care to know his name. He goes up, and I just want to critique some of the things. Obviously, the jokes are going to be shit because they're written by somebody else. But I want to also point out some other things as far as why he's not getting many laughs. All right, let's go.
They just sent me to get checked.
I think I have this adjusted for speed. So let's get the timing really down here.
I used to be a baker, but I couldn't make enough dough. So now I sell cocaine.
Okay. Not necessarily terrible. Now the people who are reacting to this are obnoxious as hell. It's good to have that in the crowd, though. Anytime you hear that on stage, it's a really good confidence booster. And now you're just going to...
Joke.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. All right. And this is something I'm going to criticize because I can. Motherfucker. Why are you reading it? Lads and lasses, if you're going to take anything from this video, take this, all right? Avoid scripts at all costs. Oh, but Ked, what if I need the script? You can bring flashcards. All right? You can bring flashcards. You really need to work on making sure that this never happens. You don't want to be reading from the phone. Rarely ever. Having some bits, you know, where you need to go off like a, you know, a paper or whatever, go for it. Do not use this as a crutch, as you see he does. Right? And you're going to notice that they all read from the phone. The problem with reading from the phone, and a big criticism I have when it comes to performances like this, is stand up, I'll say, is 75% acting. Yeah, 75% acting. And I'll put A, and then 25% jokes. There's a reason for this, right? I say 75% acting, 25% jokes. The way you compose yourself on stage, you know, your delivery, your, you know, your expressions on your face, how you know, your accents, your timing, how you're standing, what you're dressed like. All that matters. Knowing how you're going to perform the joke, all that matters way more than the actual jokes. I promise you. I guarantee you, nobody could do what Norm Macdonald does. He's great. Norm Macdonald's fantastic. If someone was to go up on stage and read it like from their phone and going, yeah, this, that, this, right? It's not going to work. It only works when Norm does it. And again, you'll screw up your material. Okay, I screwed up my material. Like I had a whole joke in my one about like, does anyone in the audience speak Spanish? What is it? Like I was supposed to go off the Taco Bell line and go to anybody in the audience who speaks Spanish, can you help me translate this? What does it mean when she says this to me? She says a lot. She says, you are a compulsive gambler and you need to get help. Worked last time I did it. Completely forgot it was the whole reason I had the Spanish set up in the first place. And that'll happen. But ultimately, I got more laughs off memorizing my stuff than I would have if I had just read the jokes. And for anybody that's going to do an open mic, keep this in mind. All right. We can look at a few more jokes from Noah, then I'm going to move on to just random tidbits from other people's sets and just see how these jokes work.
So now I saw cocaine.
Okay.
That's a joke.
So that was a double twist, which is cool, you know. I baker, dough, and it's like, cheesy, and then the cocaine. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know if that's, by the way, I don't know if that's stolen or not. So if anyone wants to tell me if that was stolen, let me know in the comments. That wasn't a terrible joke, just awful delivery.
Woo! Come on, guys.
Yeah, really obnoxious there, you know, really drawing attention to yourself. You hate to see these people.
Like a workshop. He works and she shops.
I don't think it deserves that kind of reaction. I won't even lie. But hey, I mean,
She broke up with me this week. Something about don't finger me like this.
Don't finger
okay.
me like this. That's so bad.
They all laugh
Yeah, that is bad. And once again,
this.
Don't finger
decent enough delivery. kind of, you know, another pussy joke. All right, let's talk about the most common shit you'll see in a club too. Men, this is a saying, right? Men joke about, you know, pussy, how much they're getting, and how long their penis is. Girls talk about their pussy and how short dicks are. Both talk about eating ass. Right? It's a saying. And so I don't like jokes about pussy, even the ones that I think are pretty good. I had one that I was going to perform where it was like a sommelier, and you know they pick notes from wine and shit, like grapes and California grapes, and you know imagine how they eat pussy. And I never ended up performing it. I thought it was funny, but how many times are you going to hear a pussy eating joke in your time performing at open mics? It's out of control, right? Too many self-proclaimed muff masters. So that's just shitty audience control.
They all laughed when I said I wanted to be a comedian. And they're all laughing now.
So once again, the problem with joke swaps, he has no connection to his material. And we're going to skip him before I get in trouble and get a copyright strike. But first, let me just say that this video is not sponsored by anybody. But if you guys are looking for a gift to get your significant other, your child, your friend, or anybody that, you know, needs, if you got $30 that you want to go spend on your friend and they like stuffed animals, this right here is a Jungelskog from IKEA. He's big, he's berry, he's very fluffy and fat. He's cute as hell. Get yourself a Jungelskog. Right, he's also big as hell. For $30? For $30, get yourself a Jungelskog. And I promise you, that shit is fantastic. It's from IKEA. Not sponsored at all. I'm just saying that because, God, my fucking nose itches. I'm just saying that because Jungelskog, you know, Build-A-Bear for me was like 2 for $40. But you can get a Jungelskog for $30. It's a hell of a steal for me for how much bear you're getting and how much love you're getting. Shout out IKEA. Right. Moving on.
To be a comedian. And they're all laughing now.
Yeah, you'll get tough crowd jokes like that. And we'll skip Noah's performance. We'll go to some jokes and just, again, reading off the phone, not going into the shit blind. You don't want to go into a open mic night with material that you've never read before or skimmed through. It's just going to be a disaster for you, right?
For though when the flight attendants are somersaulting around and asking me, chicken or beef? Chicken or beef? I'm like, emergency oxygen mask.
I must have missed the joke here.
And yeah, that's all I got written down.
Is that it? Is that how much there is? No, there's a whole like minute or so. We'll start at 60.
My boyfriend's in the crowd. Woo! Last central seats in the crowd, and my boyfriend's dead. Speaking about celebrities, you guys know the Caligari sisters?
This is rough.
I said, speaking of celebrities.
That is rough. And once again, drawing high importance to yourself. That's something you want to do in stand-up. There is a lot here that I'm just going to jot down. Bringing high importance to yourself is, you're not Dave Chappelle. You're not Gabriel Iglesias does this shit a lot, and it actually pisses me off because he tells a lot of stories like I can relate to him. Brother, I don't know what it's like to be on a private jet going to a resort and being too fat for the big slide, right? Shout out to you, Fluffy. You've made it, and I'm jealous. But, you know, whatever. Get your bread, son. Then I think 16 minutes there's a crash out, or 18 minutes there's like 18 minutes there's a crash out. And I want to talk about this because this isn't as bad as Kramer, but
And I really love how everybody refuses to laugh and then expects people to like piss themselves laughing at you. And they come on the stage and like, I'm so ready for this, but like you weren't laughing when you were sitting there, so I don't know what you were expecting. I was
Okay, so I'm going to repeat what she said. She basically said that, you know, why are you expecting us to laugh at your jokes when you're not laughing at my jokes? So comedy's usually from a place of good intentions, for the most part. But if nobody's laughing at your jokes, it's because your stand-up form sucks. Let's look at the I was like the poor form, the posture, and the yeah, instead of poor form, it came out as like porn. Absolutely not. And apparently they were accused of being on the hub. That is inappropriate, and no one should make comments like that. All right, misspoke. The poor form here that we're seeing is once again reading, and she'll go off script because this is an off script bit. Reading off the phone. And let's go to the other sister. Who's performing. I mean, laughing at your jokes, that's fantastic, right? But sorry, I don't have it full screen.
imagine how long it took me to
Okay.
convince her it was just a toothbrush.
Once again, reading off the phone, and okay.
Sometimes people come up to us, they're like, hey, oh my god, I just tripped with
Not
her.
reading
This
off
is
the
best day of my
But reading off the phone. All right. So we got clips of all of them reading off the phone. Like I said earlier, stand-up is mostly acting. And that's what a lot of people have the problem with whenever they're like, oh, I'm funny as hell. Why am I bombing so much? It's because it's a lot more acting than it is actually performing. We're going to actually cut to my comedy set in just a second, but yeah, honestly, like it's something where you'll notice I don't have a phone on me. And I'll get laughs because I'm connecting with the audience, right? You're not having this on you at all times. I never go through my notes when I'm on stage. And the reason is because I rehearse. I don't wait for an hour before I go and perform because I have this high level of self-importance and I think I'm just funnier than everybody else. And I'll go on stage and, tell a few jokes, tell a few stories, and then bomb at the end of the day, right? If I bomb after spending weeks on material, that's okay, right? But ultimately, I need to put more effort than just an hour's worth. If you gave me an hour to write a joke and then perform even a minute, I'm going to bomb. And I heard that these people had 10 minutes. I've never performed 10 minutes. Like I do mostly 5s or 3s or 4s. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where 10 is something that's on the table. It's hard to be funny in 10 minutes. Right? I have 10 minutes worth of material, but obviously I usually spend weeks preparing for 5 minutes. Getting a whole brand new 5 minutes done. You cannot convince me that getting 10 minutes off, which is apparently what they're allocated here, getting 10 minutes off for your first time, that's fucking brutal. Ask any comic, ask yourself, right? If you're going to do a first timer, 5 minutes and that should be it. If you can do 3 to 5 minutes, trust me, that is enough for a set. I had 4 minutes of the one I recorded for YouTube. I was a little bit under time. I like to be under time because a lot of people like to go overtime. Stick to 3 to 5 minutes. Don't do a 10-minute set. And yeah, I mean, this is a rough watch. I won't lie. And I'm going to give you guys a few pointers. Let's get to a frame where they're not in frame. And they're crashing out, by the way.
You weren't laughing when you were sitting there, so I don't know what the fuck you were expecting. I was actually pity laughing earlier, and then I realized nobody's gonna pity laugh for me. Fuck you guys, everybody. Fuck all you guys. Maybe if we pity laugh a little bit more, we'd all be on a stand-up comedy show.
That don't pity laugh, okay? If someone's material shit, let them know it's shit. Don't laugh at it. You're not there to make someone feel better. You're there to have a good time yourself. And obviously perform and kick ass, with your written material. Shout out to Hollywood Comedy, by the way. Giving people 10 minutes is absolutely batshit insane. And you're not going to get an opportunity like that. So shout out to them. I feel so bad that they're getting review bombed right now. Yeah, if you want to go give them support, go do that. We're going to keep watching this because there's one more thing I totally forgot about, which I think is really rude. And we'll discuss that, and then we'll close out with some just general tips that I've had. I actually wanted to do a video on stand-up advice for a minute now, but yeah.
What do you do for a living, sir? What do any of you guys doing? I don't know, I have to ask the question.
That's poor form. Call up somebody. You're asking to get heckled here. So crowd work, no bueno. If you're a first timer, don't do crowd work.
That's good. You right there. What do you do for a living, sir? I'm marketing, okay. Maybe if you laughed at my jokes, I'm gonna give everybody credit though, because I didn't hear any laughs for practically anybody. And that's the stubbornness that gets you to places like this. Thank you guys.
That is a speech that was not funny at all. That is a tantrum you're having on stage because nobody's laughing at your jokes. She said nobody was laughing at anybody's jokes. Well, let's go to 1020. Let's go back to 1020, and we'll highlight this.
Contacts. All right, so hand over to me now, though. You're making me feel like shit, dude. Thank you. It's cool. We got fucking Steven Soderbergh over here with that iPhone. What's on that thing? Is that?
So there were more than just those four laughing, by the way. You could hear it. So yeah, people were laughing, just not at you. And we'll close out on this guy because, you know, it's not them, and I can talk about this. This video has been 31 minutes long. I have covered less than maybe 5 minutes of their video. Don't try and copyright my ass. This is totally within fair use. I'm going to give you guys some comedy tips here, right? Some general ones. I'm new to the game, but I've learned enough to... I consider myself not a total novice as far as, like, I'm pretty good for an open micer. I'm not good enough to get my own, like, professional set. I'm not good enough to go and kill Tony yet, or anything like that. But I'll say I'm above the entry level at this point, right? So lots of pointers that I'm going to give to you guys. Number one is prep, right? You want to prepare for weeks, usually leading up to your first performance ever. You want to have 5 minutes of material, and that takes a lot of time to get 5 minutes of material, right? Remember, there's something called the 3 C's of comedy: connection to yourself, connection to the crowd, connection to the material. Get your 3 C's in check. So I'll call that the 3 connections, or 3 C's, right? Connection to crowd, connection to yourself, connection to material. What that means is that you're flowing with yourself. You know how you're performing and delivering your jokes. So that's, you know, somewhat of a connection to yourself, what you're wearing, how you're, you know, how you speak and how you perform on stage. Connection to the crowd is, I guess, flowing with what works, flowing with what doesn't work, understanding the audience, what kind of jokes you're going to tell, because you won't, the kind of shit that you're going to say on Kill Tony is not going to be the same kind of shit you're going to tell in a club in Atlanta, right? For instance, right? Because they accept a lot more stubborn shit, or I guess in the Midwest too. They accept a lot, or not Midwest, but the, I don't know, like Boston. You're not going to tell the same jokes in Boston that you're going to tell in Austin, right? Because in Boston, you have to watch yourself a little bit. Austin, they almost expect you to rip slurs, especially ones towards gay people. So remember that, right? And bear that in mind whenever you go to a certain crowd, because different crowds have different reactions to shit. And then the final connection is to the material. And everyone here lacked the connection to the material. Reason being, they read it off their phone. It wasn't their script. It was somebody else's, right? You can easily get a connection to the material if you just read it over and mock perform. And trust me, mock performing it, like practicing it, is how you're going to get better at it before you do your first open mic. So you don't bomb like these sisters and boyfriend, I guess, did. All right, so prepare, 3 connections. Next solid bit of advice I got for you guys is no crowd work. So if I play MCW, no crowd work. Pretty self-explanatory. Don't rely on the crowd, because the crowd is going to try and fuck with you. And you should just control what you can, which is your own material, right? You wouldn't hand a steering wheel off to somebody else if you're driving. Why would you do that with your own comedy, right? You will get heckled. It will go to shit. It's an art form that I guess people like Matt Rife make look so easy. And since it doesn't require any writing material, some people think it's just easy to show up on stage and start working with the crowd. Trust me, no crowd work. Okay. What's the next pointer I got, I guess? Oh yeah. Stand up is more acting than joke telling, which is super backwards. You would think that the joke telling is essential here. But we see here that some of the jokes were okay, right? Even if they are stolen, some of the jokes that were said were okay. Doesn't matter, because the way that they delivered it, the way they composed themselves, was terrible. And it makes you look like a hack. It makes you look like you're uninterested in being on stage. It makes you, if you're not going to be connected to your own material and just act it out and time it right and pace it right, why the hell is the audience going to give a damn? So tell every joke like it's the funniest joke ever and have it rehearsed and know what you're going to say. To anybody that seems like this is a lengthy process, it's not really. For me, it did take a few weeks, mostly due to writer's block, right? But that was my first 5 minutes. Now, if someone's like, hey, Ked, can you go perform at an open mic? We'll do, like 5 minutes worth of stuff. I can come up with 5 minutes of material now and then still blend in the stuff I'm currently working on. It's all work in progress. What are some more tips I have for you guys that I remember from having written down? Number 6 is to try it. I actually do give it a shot. I love stand-up comedy, and it was not something that I was willing to do at first because I was scared shitless about it. My theater background is quite limited. I'm very shy in person, believe it or not. So I was quite nervous, but you guys should give it a shot, right? And then I guess have good intentions. So I'll call this HGI. Have good intentions. Go into every joke like it's the funniest one you've ever said. Go into there thinking that you're going to be better than yesterday. Don't go in there thinking that you're going to be competing with other comics, because at the end of the day, everyone's there for the same reason you are, right? Everyone wants to get their big break in comedy and to kick some fucking ass. Not to, oh, I'm hilarious off the gate. No, you got to accept that there's room for improvement, right? So I guess number 8, be humble. Right. And yeah, I mean, I don't really think I have anything else as far as advice for you guys. Anything that I've missed as far as the actual performances are considered, please leave a comment in the comment section below. This is my first time doing a comedy breakdown. I'm not doing Kramer's bombing next. That could actually be worse than what we saw here today. Not this guy though. This guy was pretty funny. And I'll close out with this. Sorry, I'm eyeing a lot because I'm really going off script here. I'll close off with this. You guys were fantastic, and we're starting off the new year. I was going to do a much lengthier video about some more serious topics in mind, but honestly, I don't feel like I'm going to be doing that solely because I don't need to, right? Not just that I don't need to, but I don't feel like it's the right time to talk about some personal things that are going on in my life. So I'll leave it there. And yeah, I mean, it's good stuff being here. Give these people a massive shout out. If you haven't gotten a Jungle Skog in your house, or Jungle Skog, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, get yourself a Jungle Skog. You're going to love it. And with that, I've been Ked. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are at 115 subscribers. I got a subscriber without even doing shit. And that feels fucking fantastic. I'm a small content creator, obviously. So if you guys can support me in any way you can, go for it. I made a New Year's resolution. We're going to double our sub count by the end of the year. I do this for fun. I do this for you guys. You guys are always terrific. And this is going to be my longest video on record, I think, because I was able to break down this. I didn't watch the whole video. If you want to, go for it. Other people have broken down this drama in a lot more extensive detail. I'm just doing a technical breakdown of their stand-up performance. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!